Hello guys, welcome to my channel Afristylz Yarns. My name is Neema and today I'll be taking you through how to make this chevron pattern and how we'll finish it off. For today's pattern I'll be using this pink thread, this purple thread and this white thread. I'm using these 3 pieces of thread so that I can take you through how to change thread colors as I move from one row to another. This is a chunky cotton blend yarn and I'll use that together with my size 5mm hook, and you'll also need your darning needle to tuck in your loose ends, and you will need also your pair of scissors because we'll be changing colors a lot. So if you love all things crocheting and are passionate about the craft, then you've definitely landed in the right place. Please hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so you don't miss out on any of our future crochet videos. We'll start off with this purple thread and we'll be working in multiples of 17. So for this particular pattern is multiples of 17 plus 5. If you need it bigger, you'll just adjust your 17 accordingly. For this pattern, we'll start off by working a foundation chain. So for this particular one, I did 17 times 3 because we have 3 V's plus 5. So 17 times 3 gave me a total of 51 plus an additional 5 got me to 56. So I'll start off a foundation chain of 56 chain stitches. We will start off our pattern by making a slip knot. So I'll just hold the tail end of our thread with my left hand, wrap the thread around my 2 fingers, make sure it crosses, turn it to the back, go below the first loop, pick up the second and give your thread a pull, and you have your slip knot on your hook. So how you make your chain is yarn over, pull through 1, yarn over, pull through the loop, 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 and you'll continue like this all the way till you have your desired number of chains. For me, I'll continue like this till I have a total of 56 chains. So just continue and I'll meet you when we start row 1. So I have my 56 chains and my 56th chain stops here. The loop on your hook does not count as a chain. So I'll begin off by working on the second loop from the hook and we'll be working single crochets. That is what makes this pattern very simple. It's just a repeat row of single crochets. So you'll skip that first one and in the second one, we'll go inside, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. And then we'll work another single crochet in the next space. We'll go inside the space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Now I have worked 2 single crochets, and then we're going to skip 1 single crochet and move to the next one. So I'll skip that and into the next one I'll go in and work a single crochet, and we want to work 7 single crochets following each other. So that's the first one, the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and 7. After the 7th, in the next space, we're going to work 3 single crochets in the same space. So I'll go in and work 1. In the same space, I'll work my second, and in the same space I'll work my third. This creates the peak of the pattern. So since we'll be working in troughs and in peaks, so what we've just worked is the peak. So working the next 7 will be going down towards the trough. So after the 3 single crochets at the peak, we're going to, in the next 7 spaces, we are going to crochet 7 single crochets. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now since we are at the bottom trough, what we want to do is we're going to skip 2, 1, 2, and then work on the third. What this does, it creates that trough. So we're going to skip 2, go into the third and work 7 single crochets. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and now we're back at the peak again. After your 7th single crochet into the next one, we're going to work 3 single crochets in the same space to create your peak. So that's 3, and then we're going to start going at the bottom trough again, so 7 single crochets. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We are back at the trough again, so we are going to skip 2 spaces and work on the 3rd, and then we're going to work 7 single crochets again going up. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and now we are almost done. So we are on our last peak. So after the 7th single crochet, the next one, we're going to work 3 single crochets in the same space, 3, and then work our final 7 downwards. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. What you notice is you have 3 more spaces to go, the same way we started at the beginning. We started off with single crochets. What it does, it just gives us a straight lining as we go up. So we will skip 1 space and finish off with 2 single crochets. So at the beginning and at the end, you'll always be finishing off with 1 space and 2 single crochets. So that is the end of row 1. We'll work another row in with our purple thread before we change. So we'll chain 1, turn our work, and we'll start off again with 2 single crochets. So in that first space, we're going to go in there and work our single crochet and work another single crochet in the next space, and then we will begin now our counts again of 7. So we'll skip at the beginning, we always skip 1, but in the middle of the pattern right here at the troughs we will be skipping 2, but at the beginning and at the end we will always be skipping 1 space. So after your 2 single crochets, skip 1 space, and in the next space work a single crochet and work 6 more to make a total of 7. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and again we are at the peak. After your 7th single crochet in the next space, you're going to work 3 single crochets in the same space. So that's the 3rd, and then we'll start dropping towards the trough. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Then we'll skip 2 spaces to create the trough and then work 7 more single crochets going up. That's the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. Now we are at the peak, and right here we're going to work 3 single crochets in the same space, 1, 2, 3, and then work 7 more going towards the trough. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now we are at the bottom trough, so we are going to skip 2 spaces and work 7 going up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. After the 7, in the next space we're going to work 3 single crochets in the same space, 1, 2, and 3, and then going down, you're going to work 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and then we're in our last spaces. So like the beginning, at the end here we'll always have 3 extra spaces, so you'll skip one. After your 7th single crochet, skip the next space, and in the next work a single crochet and 1 more single crochet in that space. So you'll always be ending with 2 single crochets, and the chevron pattern is now beginning to take shape. Now it's clear we have these peaks and these bottom troughs, so this is why we have 3 single crochets in one space, and this is where we skip 2 spaces to create that little ridge. So at this point I want to show you how I change my color, just to give this pattern a much more definition. So how I like to do it is, after my last single crochet, I give about an inch allowance to my thread, and then I cut it off, and then I'll undo that last single crochet just so I can have some thread to work with. Then I'll come in with my pink. I join it using a square knot or a serger knot. You'll hold one thread with the left, one with your right, so the one on your right will go over the one on your left like that, creating an X, and then the one that's now on the left, which is on the bottom, will go over and at the bottom like that. And then now the one that you're holding with your left will go over, creating an X like that, the pink, and under, just to loop it up, and you'll have such a knot, and then you're going to give it a nice little pull. This is a very secure knot because it will not come apart, and the beauty about this is we'll cut it off from this edge, so you'll not have any tail ends, and it's very strong. You pull it, it will not come apart. So after I've made my knot, I'll go back and work that last single crochet that we undid, and that's how I join my thread. So this saves me a lot of work in trying to tuck in the tail ends, because since we'll be changing thread a lot, you'll have a lot of loose ends that will require a lot of work and time to tuck them in once you finished your project. This saves me a lot of time and energy. So for row 3, we're going to yarn over once and turn our work, and then start the same way. So we'll start off with 2 single crochets in those 2 spaces. So I'll go in the first one, work my single crochet, and my second single crochet in the next. I'll skip that next space and I'll start my counts of 7. So in the next space I'll work 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 single crochets. Now we are at the peak, and right here we're going to work 3 single crochets in the same space. Then we'll start working downwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now we are at the bottom trough. We're going to skip those 2 spaces and work 7 going up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 single crochets. We are at the peak, so right in the next space work 3 single crochets, and in the next 7 spaces down work 7 single crochets. After your 7th, we are now at the trough, so we're going to skip those two next spaces, and on the 3rd work a single crochet and 6 more single crochets to make a total of 7 going up. And now we are at the peak, so we're going to, in the next space after that, we're going to work 3 single crochets in the same space, and then going down to in our last side, we're going to single crochet 7 in the next 7 spaces. And after that, you have your last 3 spaces to go, so skip the next one and work your last 2 single crochets in that 2 last spaces. And your chevron pattern is taking shape as we go. So we're going to chain 1, turn our work, and repeat the same process. So it's a 1 row repeat, so just continue the same. So we'll work 1 more, we'll finish this row, and then we will change to our white thread. So just continue the same way, and I'll meet you at the end of this row so we can change our thread to white. So we've finished off our row, so we want to change now to our white. I'm going to give my thread a little allowance, about 1 inch, then I'll cut it out. I'll undo that last single crochet we did, then I'll come in with my white. So white on my left, pink on my right, right over left. Make sure they are crossing. The left will go over and under the pink. Pink will go over the white, creating that X, and then under and over, creating that little loop. Then you're just going to give your threads a pull. Then we're going to cut off these tail ends from the base so you don't have any loose thread hanging out. And we have our little knot that won't come apart. So we're going to go back in and do that last single crochet. So I'll go into that final space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through, and then we'll begin now our row 7. So I'll yarn over, chain 1, turn my work, and begin row 7 the same way. So I'll start off by working a single crochet in the first space, and another single crochet in the next space. Then I'll skip that next space and work single crochet in the next, and 6 more going up to have a total of 7 single crochets going up the peak. And 7. Then at the peak, we're going to work 3 single crochets in the same space. 1, 2, 3. Then now we are going down, so 7 single crochets in the next 7 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now we are at the bottom trough, so we are going to skip these two next spaces and work a single crochet on the next, on the third after that. So that's 1, and 6 more going up to have a total of 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Then we're at the peak, so 3 single crochets in that next space. Have 1, 2, and 3. And then going down, 7 more single crochets in the next 7 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're going to skip the next 2 spaces, and on the third work a single crochet, 1, and 6 more to make a total of 7 going up the peak. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Then at the next space, 3 single crochets in the same space. 1, 2, 3, and then 7 going down. 7 single crochets going down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we have our last 3 spaces, so skip that next space, and in the next 2 work your final 2 single crochets. Then you'll chain 1, turn your work, and begin another row. So that's how we're looking like. So you want to repeat the same thing, just repeat, and I'll meet you at the end of this row so we can finish off and I can show you how to fill up these gaps. Finished my row with 2 single crochets at the end, so I'm going to chain 1 and cut my thread. Then I'll just pull that, and then we've finished our sample piece. That's how your chevron is looking like. So you have this straight edge here and straight edge over here. So what we want to do is fill up these little troughs. I'll start off on one side. I'll show you on one side and one on one side at the bottom. So right here, what you want to do is turn your work. Since you've finished on this side where you have your tail end, I'll leave this until you finish the project just for guidance. So I'll just turn it, make sure it's on my right, and then we will start at the top over here. I'll come in with my thread, and then I'll work a slip knot. So I'll yarn it around my finger, turn, go below the first and pull up on the second and give your thread a pull. And I have my knot on my hook. And then what you want to do is right at the peak where we had 3 double crochets, how I like to approach it is I just like starting from this end, because we'll be working at this end just to be sure where I'm going in. So since we are supposed to work 2 single crochets and skip a space and work 7, that gives me a total of 10. I like counting 10 V's. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then the 11th where we are supposed to be working 3 single crochets at the same time, I'll skip that, and then in the next one after that I'll just go in with my loop and pull up a thread and work a single crochet. So after that single crochet, of course we'll be working 7, so we'll work 7 the normal way. So that's our first, our second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth, and 7. After the 7th, you want to skip 2 for the trough and work 7 more going up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we are not going to continue. So after your 7th, you want to chain 1, turn your work, and what we want to do is from this point we want to start reducing. So we'll skip that one and work in the next. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So by skipping that one, you'll notice that we are down to 5 instead of 6. So just keep that in mind. Once you skip that one, we'll be reducing by 2. So you'll go from 7 to 5. Then you'll come all the way down. Then we are now at the bottom trough. So you want to skip 2 and then work 5 more going up. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So after this row, what you've noticed is we have worked two rows, and if you're following your pattern at this point, you'll want to change your thread. So I'll first change my thread and then we'll continue the same we do. So I've changed my thread, so I'll chain 1, turn my work. After working 5, now we are going to skip this next space, and in the next work a single crochet and work 2 more. So 1, 2 and 3. Skip 2 spaces and work up, going up 1, 2 and 3. Chain 1, turn your work, and then now we are down to 1. So since we've gone from 7, 5, 3, now we only have 1 space to go. So skip that next space, and in the next one we're going to work 1 single crochet, skip 2, and in the next space after that work 1 more single crochet. And what that does is we have gone slowly closing up that space. So after this, you just want to chain 1, cut off your thread, give it a pull, and we will tuck these ones in like that. And you've closed up that little V. So we're going to move to the next one, which is this one, and the drill will be the same. So instead of working on this one, since you just rewind and do the same thing here, I'm going to turn my work like this so I can show you how I go about this other side. So for here we'll be joining using our white piece of thread. With my white piece of thread I'll make a slip knot, and then from here how I like to look at it is this little space over here, I'll count that as my first count of skips that I was supposed to make. So I'll count 7 spaces going up. So after this I'll just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I know I'm supposed to go at my 7th space, so I'll go into that space. Remember you have your knot on your finger, and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and that's your single crochet. Then that's your first, then I'll work 6 more to make a total of 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Then I'll skip that space and the next one after that, because ideally you're supposed to skip 2 spaces at the trough, and then in the next one I'll work 1 single crochet and work 6 more in the next 6 spaces. That will get me to the top. Then I'll yarn over after my 7th single crochet and turn my work. And from here, you know, we'll be reducing, so we'll not work on this next space. Instead we're going to work on the next, so we'll skip that one, and in the next work a single crochet and work 4 more, because we are reducing by 2. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Skip the next 2 spaces because that's the trough, and then work 5 more going up. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. You'll notice you have that last stitch that you could have gone into, but we're not going to work on that one. We have worked 2 rows with our white. At this point you want to change your thread, so I'll do that and then we'll continue. So after changing my thread, you want to yarn over, chain 1, turn your work, and now we are going to work 3 single crochets. So we'll skip that first space over there and work from there, from the next one after that. So we'll go in and count 3. So that's 1, 2, 3. Now we are at the bottom trough. Skip the next 2 spaces, and the next one after that, work a single crochet and 2 more going up to have a total of 3. Then you're going to chain 1, turn or work, and then since 3, 1, skip that next space. In that next one, you're going to single crochet 1, skip the 2 spaces because of the trough, and then in the next one, work a single crochet. And since there is no more space to work, we're going to chain 1 and cut our thread, and you've closed up that V. So we've closed up that space and we've closed up this space. So the same pattern we've used here, you're going to use in the next 2 spaces. So we'll finish off by showing you how to close off on the edge. Since I'll be working on this end, this is where we finished our pattern. I'm going to come in with my purple and I'm going to work a slip knot. I'm going to go right at the bottom here, that space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through. That's your first single crochet. Remember, you're supposed to work 2 single crochets and skip 1. So it's the same way. So 1, 2 single crochets, skip the next one. In the next one, work a single crochet and 6 more to make a total of 7 single crochets going up. Now you have your 7 single crochets. You're going to chain 1, turn your work, and then you're going to skip that next space and work 5 more single crochets going down. So after that space, the next one, go in and work your single crochet. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In these last spaces, we're just going to be working the same way. So skip that next one and work your last 2 single crochets. 1, and in that space, work your second, chain 1, and you'll start also the same way. So in that first space, you're going to go in and work your first single crochet and 1 more single crochet after that. Then you're going to skip 1 space the same way, and then work 3 more going up. So in the 1, 2, and 3, then you're going to chain 1, turn your work. Now we only required to work 1. We'll skip that space, and in the next one we'll just work 1, skip that next one and work your last 2 single crochets. And since when you look at it, you see you still have space, it looks like we're still drifting. So the same way, we're going to chain 1, turn your work, and work 2 single crochets in those 2 spaces, just to give us enough depth to come up. And after that, you're going to yarn over, make a chain, and cut your thread and pull up that thread, and then we'll tuck this in, and you have a straight edge over there. We forgot to change our thread over here, so it's okay, I'll just leave it as is. So we will finish off on this other side. So for this side, we're just going to turn to the wrong side where we have these little ridges, and then I'll just count 10 going up. So 3 from the beginning, and then 7 going up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And on the 10th space, I'll go in with my hook, with my slip knot on my hook. I'll go into this space, pull up a loop, yarn over, and work a single crochet like that. That's my first single crochet. Then you want to work 7 more going down. After your 7th, you're going to skip the next space and work your last 2 single crochets. Then you'll chain 1, turn your work. This end doesn't change, so you're going to start off by working 2 single crochets the normal way, skip 1 space and work 5 more going up. Remember, after the first row of 7, we'll be going up, reducing, coming down, reducing. So going up will be reducing, so we'll work 5 single crochets. So that's the first, the second, 3, 4 and 5. Then I'll chain 1, turn my work, skip that first space, work on the next one, and we'll be reducing again. So I'll work 3 single crochets. So that's 1, 2 and 3. And then you have 3 last spaces going there, so skip the next one, and in the next 2 spaces work your last 2 single crochets, chain 1, turn my work, start off by 2 single crochets, skip 1, and you only have 1 more space left, so I'll skip that space and work 1 single crochet. Then I'll chain 1, turn my work, and finish off by skipping that space and working 2 last single crochets. So I'll work 1, and the last space I'll go in that space and work your last single crochet, and now we are straight. Then I'll yarn over, make a chain, cut off my thread, pull up, and we have our last corner over there. So I'm just going to fill this and this last 2 off camera, and we'll finish off our pattern. So after filling up my last remaining this is how our pattern will turn out. You can make this to as big as you want it to be. It's a very pretty, interesting pattern. You can make it with as many colors as you want, or you can just have it in 2 colors or just 1 color. It's still perfect. So this has gotten us to a total of 14 inches, and 1V is approximately 4 inches. If you've made it to the end of this video and you've liked our pattern, do give us a thumbs up and leave a comment in the comment section below on what you found interesting about today's video. Also, if you like to send in a donation in support of the channel, you can do so. The details are on your screen, and I'll leave the same on the description box below. Also, do consider subscribing and turning on your notification bell. It really helps in growing the channel. So up until next time, do try out this pattern, and I'll see you in our next video. Bye.